Father returned to Xining from Lanzhou. He also wanted to go back to Beijing, but the war was not yet over and transportation was blocked, so it was not practical to go back to Beijing. On the day he returned to Xining, actors from the Qinghai resistance troop, his students, and more than 1,000 people from all walks of life in Xining greeted him on Dongguan Street. He has always been a person who longs for freedom, but he has just been released from prison and is penniless, so where can he go if he doesn't go to Qinghai? There is no need to deny that Ma Bufang has always treated him well, and this time he was able to get out of prison because of Ma Bufang's rescue, so his choice was a natural one. Later, some people accused him of why he wanted to defect to the door of an executioner. My father told a story. A man was unfortunate enough to fall into the water, and a rescuing hand reached out from the shore. The man's instinct for survival dragged the hand up, and he survived. Later, the man was told, "The man who saved you is a robber. You shouldn't go with him." The man who fell into the water said, "Well then, I'll just have to drown." This rescued man was Father Wang Luobin. Back in Xining, Ma Bufang, for my father's release from prison, personally arranged a banquet for him to crush the shock. Ma Bufang said at the banquet, "Now, everywhere in the country are singing a Qinghai folk song in that faraway place. This is the honor that Instructor Wang has won for our Qinghai province. I want them all to know that there is an Instructor Wang Luobin Wang in my Qinghai province." My father's heart was filled with gratitude for Ma Bufang's knowledge. After his release from prison, my father was still teaching music classes at Kunlun Middle School. He was over 30 and still alone without a family. One of his high school classmates was the director of Xining Zhongshan Hospital, who had returned from studying medicine in Japan. Learning that my father did not yet have a girlfriend, he said to him, "Come to me and pick one out. We have plenty of nurse girls here." "Father, no need to pick. You find it for me. I'll agree to it as long as someone else is willing. In the old style, no meeting, see you when you get married." His friends then tried to find him a wife. I don't know if it's because Luo Shan's love affair and 3 years in prison for no apparent reason made him a little disillusioned, but he wasn't enthusiastic about finding a wife. My father only saw the beautiful face of the bride, Wang Yulan, my mother, at the moment when he lifted the red cover. My mother was a midwife, and my grandfather was in charge of general affairs at the hospital. There were 4 sisters in the family, named Mei, Lan, Ju, and Ju, and my mother was the second oldest. For my mother, it was an old-fashioned marriage arranged by her parents, and for my father, it was his abandonment and a kind of revenge on life. After the marriage, my mother, who was soft and quiet, brought another kind of weather to my father's life. He told my mother that he had taken this way of marriage as a revenge on life, but she just smiled calmly and said, "It will get better later." My father renamed his wife Wang Jing. After the marriage, my father was busy with his own work and was seldom at home. If he went to Longdong, it was more than 400 kilometers from home, and it took a long time to get there, so my mother rarely said anything. The day my elder brother was born, my father nervously walked around the yard, and when the child was brought to him, he half raised the child and said, "God, I, Wang Luobin, finally have a son." Once when my father came back from other places, he saw that his wife and children were not at home and the room was cold everywhere. He was used to seeing his wife's calm, smiling face when he returned home, and he could see her serving hot meals, and at this time he was suddenly very unhappy in his heart. He found my father-in-law's house, and when he saw his wife and children were there, he pulled down his face and was not in a good mood. Without saying a word, the mother carried the child and followed him back to her house. When they arrived home, my mother opened the cupboard containing flour and poured in the flour she had brought back from her mother's house. It was then that my father realized that there was no more grain in the family's flour cupboard. Father suddenly had a guilty feeling. As a man, did not take care of the family, did not fulfill his husband's responsibility, and came back to give his wife a face. He thought that Huang Yulan was not Luo Shan, if she was Luo Shan. How could she stand this kind of attitude from him? There was a balance in his heart. Huang Yulan didn't have Luo Shan's romance, Luo Shan's temperament and talent, but Huang Yulan had the humility, serenity, and generosity that Luo Shan didn't have. This was a relatively quiet period for my father. At this time, he was working at the Qinghai Provincial Department of Education, earning a decent income. He became the head of the education section and the director of instruction of the local cadre training corps and organized music teacher training courses, training a large number of musical talents. He wrote the primary school music textbook and the music teacher training textbook for the Qinghai Normal School, as well as the primary and secondary school music textbooks. In 1945, to celebrate the victory in the war and the Spring Festival, Ma Bufang decided to do a sensational to celebrate the victory in the war, the military and people with the cultural and artistic repertoire. He ordered the Qinghai Ma family army, so that the divisions, brigades, regiments to prepare their own money for the cultural and artistic programs to participate in the competition in Xining. The winners have a prize. This is a Ma Bufang type of cultural and artistic repertoire. The commander-in-chief is the music instructor Wang Luobin. Ma Bufang himself organized a program and put my father in charge of rehearsals for his guard. Everyone wanted to see what program President Ma had handpicked. Ma Bufang said that his program should be kept absolutely secret. Chairman Ma wanted to make a splash, which now aroused even more interest and curiosity. For a while, the whole Qinghai was busy with this cultural performance, and everywhere was filled with a joyful atmosphere. The 8-year war of resistance had finally been won, and this cultural performance held in Xining was indeed a great event for the people of Qinghai. Ma Bufang to find my father, his own childhood in the Hezhou home, to learn the Flowers tune humming to my father. He also made up the lyrics. The tune was a flower that had been passed down in the Haidong area. My father was not unfamiliar with the tune sung by Ma Bufang. He had collected flower in Qinghai folklore and visited the local flower king. He thought that Ma Bufang's own lyrics were okay, so he slightly modified the lyrics and music and adapted a folk tune into a male-female duet form of song and dance program. The song consists of 4 sections: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, with beautiful melodies and cheerful rhythms, and is named Song and Dance of the 4 Seasons. The cultural performance was held in Xining Old School Field. The soldiers of the majestic army lined up like a parade into the field, sitting on the ground to watch the program. The whole Xining was in an uproar, and the old schoolyard was crowded with people watching the program. The Ma family army participated in a variety of programs, including the lion rolling embroidered balls, stilt walkers, twisting rice planting songs, running boats, and dancing dragon lanterns. Ma Bufang was sitting on the reviewing stand, and when he saw something he was happy about, he shouted, "Good!" The adjutant shouted, "Chairman Ma has a reward." That day, 4 Seasons Song and Dance, Flowers and Youth, had its first performance at the old schoolyard in Xining, and the soldiers of the majestic army, dressed as men and women, won a round of applause from the audience on the stage as soon as they appeared on the stage. Plus, it was a program favored by President Ma, and so it was the only one to take the lead, and it took the top prize. My father, who was the host of the event, announced loudly, "Now, President Ma's guards will give a performance of Song and Dance of the 4 Seasons." 8 male youths playing the role of barebackers shone on the stage, all handsome teenagers, dressed in black clothes and black pants with cloud-soled soap boots, black hats on their heads, folding fans in their hands, striding and twisting rice-planting songs, twisting and singing at the same time. Ma Bufang's army did not have female soldiers. 8 young girls can only let the 8 handsome male children play, wearing a flower jacket and pants, head draped in colorful silk scarf, holding a flower parasol, stepping on the small steps while dancing and singing. Men and women cross-change formation under the stage of a holler. Performers humming is Ma Bufang's hometown of Hezhou accent, so that Ma Bufang repeatedly clapped and applauded. The program performed by the soldiers of the Ma family army was the earliest 4 Seasons tune, Flowers and Youth, a song whose lyrics were originally choreographed and sung by Ma Bufang. The wonderful performance of the soldiers of the Ma family army on the stage won bursts of applause from time to time. Suddenly someone realized that the 8 heavily made-up gay sisters were all dressed up as men and shouted, "Look, which Ga sisters are the 8 bachelors?" There was a lot of laughter and clamor mixed with the singing and dancing. The song 4 Seasons Song and Dance was sung in Qinghai, and since it was written by Chairman Ma himself, there was no reason why it wouldn't be a hit.